Well, morning. This is Joe with Lock It Up. We're out here another beautiful Texas morning. Luckily, we got a little bit of a cold front coming through, so it's not a bajillion degrees anymore. We're finally getting down into like the high 80s. For us, for me, that's perfect. I wouldn't still mind like the low 90s, but high 80s, that's still good. It is a little interesting out here in Texas. You can get into about the 70s, and that's kind of cold, especially with the amount of humidity that we have. If you get something like that, a day where it's low 70s, mid 70s, it'll actually feel cool. And so that's just different for me, coming from like Colorado or coming from the desert to California. It's just different how the humidity kind of treats the air differently, and then like things feel cooler just because there's so much more humidity in the air. But that's just me. That's just something I've noticed that like I experience. Not saying everyone has the same experience, but it's just something for me. It's like once you get that higher humidity and slightly lower temps, you feel it a little bit more. But I'm excited. I'm still going to plan for next year, next summer. Still going to try to make it better, more enjoyable, business-wise, family-wise, all that stuff. But now we get to adjust and get ready for the fall. I hope we have like a pretty fall. I hope we get a lot of rain, because this summer was awfully dry. And then if you're asking, oh, Joe, you can be out here walking in the rain? I think so. This GoPro's supposed to be able to be in the water, and I'll show you. We'll walk a couple miles, me and Oakley, and we've done it before. Just get out there, get wet, just make sure it's safe. If it's like one of those real dark storms or visibility kind of gets hindered, yeah, I won't be out there just for safety. There's no reason taking a hit by a car just to be Mr. Macho Man in the rain. Nah, it's not worth it. But no, day is good. This week's good. I'm enjoying it. Hope you're having a good week. I think this week, so I gotta get ready for a few things. As business owners, we gotta pay, at least out here in Texas, you gotta pay quarterly taxes. So gotta get all that information gathered and ready, and how do you deal with that? Luckily, my organization is small enough where I can deal with it, and some people need to hire on other people, and that's totally understandable because the taxes are quite a tricky combo. I wish I could give advice on that, but that is not my forte. But what I can give advice on is just always kind of gotta give yourself a little bit of like an inspection quarterly, but I know it takes time, but that's something that helps, especially when you're starting off new. When you're starting off new, inspect yourself more often, because those little things will fall through the cracks, and then those little things will turn into big things, the further down they fall, But just make sure you take care of yourself. That's the most important part. Kind of like, you just gotta know what you need, and it's hard to know what you need all the time, but that's why we gotta ask people questions. Just be like, hey, what do you do about this? And sometimes people give you good answers, and sometimes people tell you at least where to go look, and at least that's a good stepping stone. So yeah, back to where we're at. Changing of the seasons, you have the summertime crowd, right? So, does your area have tourist attractions for the summertime, and then are those attractions going to not be as sought out during the wintertime? There's a couple of, setups where, it's a year-round kind of thing. I remember when I was in Colorado, all the mountain stuff, during the summertime, you can go out there, hike all you want. And then once the winter's kicked in, and then, the snow's out there, then it's just snowboarding and skiing. And I mean, that would draw out the crowds for sure, from, all over the world, which I always found, really cool. Just you know, you live there, but then it's like you don't think about how attractive the place is to like tourists, people from out of state, you know, people from out of country. And so I just find it interesting, like when parts of the US are like international attractions, you know, and then it's just kind of fun to see like what it is that brings those people out, you know. That's what I like to think about. So, you know, if you had the summer crowd come out and it's gonna be winter time, some people that live in more harsh winter environments will come out to your area just because the winters aren't as harsh. So they call those snowbirds. And so, you know, are you thinking about them, like as a business owner? Are you thinking about how that affects the economy and the tourist and all those things? And are you taking advantage of it if you are a business owner and that's what you do? You know, just something to think about. You know, don't leave any stone unturned when it's in the opportunity to grow your business. For me, I don't know what would make my business seasonal. What I like is if you do have downtime and you don't know what to do with it, then that's when you would reach out to my company. And then we would try to figure out how the best way to deal with the off season. You know, is there opportunities to grow and, you know, stay above average than what you're used to, or do we need to completely bring in something else that will be able to make money during the off season? And I've seen companies do stuff like that, and it makes total sense to me. It's like, why shut yourself down when you just have an opportunity to do something else, right? So, and I mean, that goes for life. Some things are seasonal, you know, just like with farming, you know, just because it's downtime doesn't mean you do nothing. You just have to change what you're doing during that time to make it more worth your while as you're running your business or whatever operation you got going on. You just gotta figure it out. If you need to figure it out and you got no ideas, that's where you reach out to me. We'll figure out something. You know, it just depends on what your business is, what your interests are, and all those things. So there's always some workarounds. There's always some areas to improve on. There's always something. Sometimes you just have to think a little bit outside the box and or kind of listen to, you know, what the world's telling you. Sometimes it's just right in front of your face and you've just been not listening. And I know, it's sometimes easy as that. But yeah, seasons change, business change, climates change, you know, trends can also change those things too. So all of it's a factor that you gotta think about. And that's, I guess, really the hard part sometimes for business owners to understand. It's not always that, oh, it's failing. It just might be a different time of the year, different type of the season. So things you have to consider. Some people might just freak out, be done with it and call it a day. It's like, no. Sometimes there's a little bit of a roller coaster in this whole thing. It's not all gas, no brakes all the time until you're set up that way, until you're able to counter the changes throughout the year that if you have something that's affected by the time of the year and all that. So something to think about. Don't always overreact. And now something I was listening to was saying, you know, some people handle stress better than others. I get that. Because it's like, if you don't know how to deal with the stressors, then you don't know what it is that you need to do during those times. So, you know, some people may freak out over small things, and then some people may not. And it's just what you're exposed to and what your challenges are during that time that really dictate the outcome. But I think that's when, like, coaching, consulting, things like that can teach you the workarounds for when you're having those moments where things aren't going according to plan. And then once you see, oh, it's not that big of a deal, then hopefully it takes away a little bit of that stress. So, you know, always try to be prepared. So when we got the changing the seasons come up, what do you look forward to for fall time, winter time? You know, are you in an area that does get snow and a lot of rain? You know, is that good for you? Do you have to maybe prepare a little bit for those seasons coming up? You got, you know, if you got gutters, you gotta make sure they're clean before all the rain comes in. You know, if you got a yard, if you got a water collection set up, you know, make sure it's cleaned out, ready to go for the new season. You know, now's a good time to start prepping your pipes for winter if you get the freezing temperatures already. You know, there's a lot to do. You know, we just get out of summer, and I always kind of like to say, like, you know, depending on how much you got going on is how much you need to prepare for and how much prep time you need. So, you know, should you have been prepping for winter and summertime? Perhaps a smidge, not completely, but, you know, get the checklist going. Sometimes it's best to buy those items during the off season. Sometimes you get them for cheaper before, you know, the new stuff comes out, and it's all gonna be more expensive than last season's stuff. But just depending on what kind of item it is, if it's one of those items that break down quickly over time, or something that's a little bit more stable that will at least last you a year or two. You know, do you need to buy in bulk? Is this something you gotta change out every year? You know, all those kind of things is what I like to think about. So for me, I don't have too much going on. You know, you gotta buy the little covers for the faucets outside. I already have those. Those are ready to go. They don't last long though. That plastic on the outside breaks apart during the summer. So I think I need to store those in the shed during the summertime because they just get cooked. You know, but could you maybe spray some spray paint on those? That way it protects the plastic over the year or 2 years. Maybe that kind of you know, kind of like truck liner kind of stuff or anything like that, that will help it last. You know, the foam inside kind of breaks apart. You know, is there something you can kind of improve that with? You know, these are all things I think about. But, you know, you kind of got to know, you know, if you have a business or if you have a home, you know what the challenges are, because, you know, it's the things that you have problems with. And most of those things are seasonal. Maybe come up once a year, twice a year, whatever it is. So, you know, start planning it out and understanding, kind of putting it on a calendar, knowing when you got to deal with it, how long is it going to take, are you able to do it, you have to get somebody else to do it. You know, all factors. Once you identify those things, then it just lowers your stress. You kind of figure, okay, this is going to happen here, this is going to happen here, this is going to take this long, it's going to cost this much. Then you can prepare for it, and then hopefully it just makes it a little bit easier on you. But I think we're going to wrap this up early. We got me, we got Oakley. We're gonna continue our little walk here. You think about the changing of the seasons. What's your favorite part? Me, it's kind of the food. We start making some really good food come Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas time. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, what do you enjoy? What's your favorite part? And hopefully you get to do it and have the most fun with it. But until then, until next time, take care.